The West Virginia Mountaineers continue to search the transfer portal for players that can make an immediate impact on the West Virginia Mountaineers football team. And there's going to be a couple of visitors to campus on the 4th and 5th of January that would not only make an impact, they would make a huge impact if they signed with West Virginia. We're talking all conference type impact players, and we're talking about them right after this word from our sponsor. This episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you.
This is for Cameron. Cam. Oh.
Happy New Year. What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. This is another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, and hope you guys had a great New Year. Hopefully you guys are awake by now. I'm sure some of you guys won't see this video when it comes out because you're sleeping it off still, and that's fine. I, unfortunately, don't do those type of things anymore. You guys know why. I've made a commitment to stay in recovery, and unfortunately for me, a drink of alcohol could lead to a host of other issues, so I have to stay away from that. But I had a great time with my family last night and got to play some video games and do things I like to do. So it was a great New Year's for me, and it could be an even better 2024, not only for me, not only for you, but for the West Virginia Mountaineers. And why is that? Because they've got several visitors coming to town, and some we don't even know about. As always, they're going to have some secret visitors. But these two guys have been talked about, they've been publicized, and they are two enormous possible additions to the defensive and offensive line rooms of the West Virginia Mountaineers on a team that we feel like already, as it is, could compete for a Big 12 championship. So what do we need to do to raise the expectation level for this team? Well, how about a pass rush? How about a right tackle that could possibly match Wyatt Mayim on the left side? Would that do for you guys? Stay tuned, and we're getting ready to talk about two players that fit the bill just like that. But before you do that, don't forget to like the video, guys, as always. It really helps with the algorithm, as I know you hear from every content creator out there, but it's the truth. YouTube will push this video out into the airwaves and let other people see it if you just hit the like button and maybe even leave a comment underneath. So don't forget to like the video, guys. Certainly don't forget to comment on the video. Just drop a comment below on how you feel about these two players we're talking about today. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. It is free. We do have members if you want to be a part of that as well, and we can certainly get into that conversation for 2024. But for now, the subscribe button will work. Give me to 2,000, guys. Back to the show. The first player I'm going to talk about is a guy that I'm extremely excited about. This dude has been able to play at the Division I level for a few years now. He is not only has he produced, he's impacted the game from a spot in which WVU really needs help. And that's the pass rush, whether it's defensive end, whether that's bandit. And this guy, not only does he play those positions well, he can slide inside and really play the run well as well. Love this player, guys. We're talking about all Sunbelt first team on defense, TJ Jackson. This is a 6'2", 280-pound defensive end that has bend and athletic ability coming off the edge. His hand fighting, guys, is one of the first things I noticed about him on tape. He uses his hands extremely well. He's strong at the point of attack and really eats guards and tackles up, and he eats them up for lunch. Coming off stunts, he's just an athletic freak, and I can't say that with enough compliment behind it. This dude, in my opinion, would be one of the best pass rushers we've had in Morgantown since Bruce Irvin. And it's because he can get it done in a myriad of ways. He's 6'2", 280 pounds, so he's got the bull rush, but off the bull rush, he's got a swim move, and he's also got a rip move, which are classic. They teach you these moves, but he's perfected them. And in my opinion, would be an awesome addition to the defensive line alongside Sean Martin and other guys on the defensive line coming back this year, whether it be Fator Mulba and other guys. And he also gets us bigger up front. So I think this would be huge. You can honestly play him at bandit too. Don't know about his pass coverage skills, but just purely as a pass rusher, this dude could really wreck Big 12 offenses, guys. And I truly believe he would be somebody that would be an all-conference type player for us in Morgantown. Just a little bit of the conversation he and I had. This is just the initial findings out of if he was coming to visit Morgantown. And I asked him, he said they plan on it being the 4th. So that has since been approved, and he will be here on the 4th. Coos from Coos' Corner wrote an article on him and the situation. This is back when it broke, when I broke the news. And so here is Coos breaking that news. Breaking all conference Sun Belt defensive end to visit West Virginia. Former Troy defensive end TJ Jackson, who entered the portal today, December 28th, plans to visit the West Virginia football program. The 2022 All Sun Belt first team performer told Mountaineer Paul from Mountaineer Paul Talks Football on YouTube that he plans to visit the Mountaineers on January 4th. Jackson missed the first 3 games of 2023 due to a suspension. That missed time impacted the season stats. However, still finished the 2022 season with 52 total tackles, 14.5 tackles for loss, and 8 sacks. James garnered immediate interest upon entering the transfer portal within just a couple hours of officially entering. Jackson held offers from not only WVU, but also Texas A&M. It is worth noting, Jacksonville State and Texas A&M. Worth noting that Jackson's coach at Troy, John Summerall, was an assistant on Neil Brown's staff when Brown was the head coach for Trojans from 15 to 18. West Virginia defensive coordinator Jordan Leslie was also on that staff with Summerall, moving on to become the head coach at Tulane. It's fair to assume the relationship between Troy coaches will play a key role in WVU's recruitment of Jackson. And that's a really nice article from Coos there. Appreciate Coos for writing that up. And I can't say enough how important it would be to land this kid, guys. I think he would be just an absolute marvelous addition to this room. And hoping he lands, guys, hope they can get this thing sorted out. But he's not the only transfer that's going to be on campus that day, guys. Of equal importance is an All-American right tackle from Jacksonville State, which we all know Rich Rodriguez is the head coach there. Hall of Famer Rick Trickett is the offensive line coach there. You know he's been coached up right. Xavier Bausley. If that name sounds familiar to you, it's because he's a West Virginia native. And he played at South Charleston. And I'll tell you what, guys, he had one of the best responses when I asked him, because obviously the worry for me was West Virginia overlooked this kid during the first go around, and he went to Jacksonville State. And you'll never believe the response to his when I asked him this question. I said, because he's choosing between PITT, Kentucky, and West Virginia. And I said, listen, man, does WVU overlooking you going to play a part in your decision? Because I thought maybe he'd have a chip on his shoulder and want to go somewhere else. His exact words to me were, the other teams overlooked me too. That includes Kentucky and PITT. And honestly, looking back at the tape and looking back at himself coming out of high school, he said he wasn't ready. Talk about maturity, guys. That blew me away when he told me that. It really, truly did. Really, really happy that he told me that and really told me all I needed to know about the kid. We need this kid. We need both these kids. But this guy here, man, these are grown men. And far be it for me to call them kids. It's just kind of, it's what coaches do. You hear it so often. But these are men. And this guy's a 6'5", 300-plus pound offensive lineman that is an elite And I say that with the utmost confidence. An elite run blocker, which is probably no surprise, being that he was coached by one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time, in Trickett. And so, of course, I had to ask him about that, and this is what he had to say about that. I said, first off, what kind of impact did Rich Rodriguez have on you? And what kind of impact did Rick Trickett have on you? And he said the big thing with them is the attention to detail. Every little thing is scrutinized, so you learn to get better at every little aspect of the game. So, just an awesome response there, and pretty cool that this kid has pretty much been made and handled by one of the best offensive line coaches of football. This is a guy that had an incredible Pro Football Focus rating. He only allowed 14 pressures the entire season, which is really, really, really good. And is a guy that could come in my opinion, he would start right away over Nick Malone. I think that some people think there might be a battle there. You don't bring a kid like this in unless he's going to start. So if he comes to West Virginia, expect to see this guy at right tackle next year, and probably the left tackle of the future after that. So, and that's what I would sell him on if I'm West Virginia, and I think that's what they're going to try to sell him on. So be looking for that. The article written by Coos with this kid goes something like this: Xavier Bausley, a redshirt freshman transfer offensive lineman who played his first 2 seasons for Rich Rodriguez at Jacksonville State, plans to visit West Virginia football program on January 4th and 5th, according to multiple media outlets. Bausley, who is from Dunbar, West Virginia, attended South Charleston High School, stands 6'5" and weighs 315 pounds, according to 247 Sports. He has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Was named a second-team All-American selection by the Athletic after starting all 12 games at right tackle for the Gamecocks in 12 games. Played 900-plus snaps and gave up 15 pressures and only 1 sack. That's incredible. He earned a 73.5 offensive grade from Pro Football Focus. Bausley received immediate interest from several Power 4 programs after entering the portal on 20th, but has narrowed his interest to 3 schools: West Virginia, Pitt, and Kentucky. Plans to visit all 3 schools between January 3rd and 7th, and is expected to make his decision shortly after his final visit. Bausley's offensive line coach at Jacksonville State was also a familiar name to WVU fans. It's former Mountaineer line coach Rick Trickett, checking in on Coos' Corner for more news regarding West Virginia sports. Really hope you enjoyed this edition of Mountaineer Paul Talk Football. Don't forget to keep coming back as always, guys. 2 huge additions could possibly be coming to Morgantown. Hope to see you next time. This episode is over. I am out.
This is for Cameron.